Obey obviously coming in, upsetting Orbit. Orbit no longer actually has a chance to go to Worlds. They've been knocked out. And so Obey trying to kind of prove that they deserve to be with the top dogs. Haven't showed it yet. For me, some of the things that I saw in this game was that really PrettyPriMe, the Raw was not as successful as they wanted. You mentioned the healing, but you also, in the backstage scene, mentioned the setup. They just didn't have enough to set up, and they also didn't really have enough to peel for them.
I feel like they just need a little bit more additional setup than just an Athena. Maybe look for more setup coming out of CaptainTwig. He's always been prioritizing the Nemesis in both games, but we see that NRG don't really care about that. They're just very inclined to invading that jungle side against the Nemesis, not allowing any momentum for Twiggy.
And yeah, not to mention, I think that the NRG is also a bit focusing on variety and ensuring that he's not able to be as impactful as a player. So a lot of the pressure seems to be falling more onto PandaLike here, trying to get the initiation set up for PrettyPriMe. But at the same time, he was getting punished pretty severely. Any time that he tried to dash in and look for the taunts, it just seemed like he was the main focus for those team fights. And once PandaLike went down, it just seemed like Obey were trying to scatter and retreat, and they pretty much spent the entire game, I think, on their back heels.
Yeah, without the front line from PandaLike, it's very easy for NRG to really exploit the rest of Obey's team composition. So it's going to be interesting to see how Obey really adapt, especially against NRG for their support, iRaffer. He's always been aggressive playing so far. The Fafnir the first game, the Bacchus the second. He has a very diverse god pool and also a very interesting way of building some of his gods. I remember watching one of his streams sometimes, and I think it was like a level 8 Sobek. He had like 2 points in his pluck, 2 points in his tail whip, 3 points in his sickening strike. I'm like, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, Raffer's one of those guys where he will literally do anything that he needs to do for his team. You could tell even when he was originally putting together his roster for it, his initiative was just, I want to make sure that I'm setting up my group as well as I possibly can to ensure that we can pick up these W's.
Got to make emilitoo look good somehow, right?
One way or the other.
Well, Raffer, he's got a lot on his shoulders, as well as PandaLike. How much of this comes into their overall play and then their overall just attitude and demeanor as a unit? PandaLike doesn't strike me as one of the loudest kind of supports that we have, obviously comparing to the likes of Trixtank or Jeff Hinla, right? How does he kind of support his team outside of the game?
Well, it's very difficult to say because PandaLike hasn't been involved in the scene for as long as iRaffer has been. iRaffer has actually built this team from the ground up, coming from the Challenger Cup 2 seasons ago, getting in position for World Season 2, winning it all, whereas we saw PandaLike actually coming mid-season of Hungry for More actually during the spring split. So having a little bit less time than iRaffer to be able to adjust to his roster. And this is why we see NRG having such an advantage over Obey, just because of the fact that they've been around longer.
I almost feel like NRG even trying to bait PandaLike to go up for their more aggressive picks, such as Athena, so that way they can try and counter-engage for punishment, because they know PandaLike as a player, he likes to go in, and while it can be excellent for Obey as far as them wanting to start up a team fight or just engage and look for a kill in the jungle area or camps, it's just at the same time can be such a detrimental factor because of the fact that NRG are an excellent team at capitalizing on even the smallest of mistakes. So one pick on one of your teammates, and particularly PandaLike, you're losing your buffs, you're losing farm, and it just all spirals out of control, really.
I mean, we didn't even talk about this totally. I'll let you kind of go into it, but it seemed that they had to focus energy to target ban out towards the second draft, towards the second banning phase, to make sure variety wasn't on a god he felt comfortable with. No Tyr, no Ymir. They took those away. That had a big impact on him.
Absolutely. He had to go into the Sobek for that second game. He got camped a lot by adapting Thor, yet again locking that in for the third game. So I'm expecting more of a leaning from adapting into the solo lane, trying to assist Dimi. We talked about Twig needing to kind of lean on one of his silence, but we didn't really see much of that because of the fact that he always had to adjust to the aggressive invades coming out of NRG, always losing his speed buff, having to shift over and get a counter red buff invade.
Well, I think it was excellent by Obey to go ahead and ban away that Erlong. Demi's been having way too much fun with that god and causing way too much chaos, and so I think that it's excellent for them to disorient the team comp a lot more by forcing him into a pick that isn't going to be as, I think, dangerous during the laning phase. And I also can see Obey, that Ymir, Variety's probably pretty excited right now.
Yeah, it seems they went for it. So just as we were mentioning this, the Thor does get locked down, and that's one thing I will pose to you for adapting here. should we let him be so comfortable getting that Thor every game? But finally, Variety is on the Ymir. That seems like that could be a big difference maker for Obey.
It very well could be, depending on how Dimi adapts to this in the laning phase. But the problem is that NRG still had another pick after the Ymir, so they lock in the Neith, which is a great option in terms of chain CCing this Ymir. Considering the fact that he's very immobile during his 2 and his 3, it's very easy to land the double tap from adapting, the Spirit Arrow coming out of emilitoo in these team fights.
Like they did with Cherio.
Yes.
Against Sanguine.
Yes.
He was 0-8 that game.
Yeah, he could not get away, and they just had so much lockdown on him. This is kind of up to Obey now to outdraft kind of something that can help Ymir to stay relevant in these team fights.
I figured that Obey are probably going to look more for an AoE kind of effect due to the fact that they have the Fafnir, Ymir, and Batz. There's already a lot of crowd control coming out on their end, and they have enough hard CC and setup this time around as opposed to the past 2 games that we've watched Prime play. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Prime probably looking... He could opt for Vulcan again, but I'm kind of expecting more of a Zeus pick to come out from him.
That's a better option, actually, because then you could zone so easily with the Fear No Evil, with the Zeus ultimate as well. Those are the 2 best options, with Isis being taken by NRG earlier on for that AoE synergy, considering the fact that the Fafnir will have a lot of objective control. So, as well as NRG, though, considering the fact that they do have that circle of protection, but instead it's hovering over the Kukulkan after teasing the idea of the Zeus.
I'm a little bit concerned. I think he's just having fun with it now. He can probably hear us over here. There's no way. But I feel a little bit concerned for Obey due to the fact that NRG got the Amaterasu. Dimi is, like I said, he's been making excellent rotations this entire set. And so I feel like with the Amma, while it isn't necessarily as strong in the laning phase in comparison to an Erlong, at the same time, their ability to engage is still pretty strong.
Especially with adapting, playing the Thor, emilitoo having the global World Weaver. I expect a lot of solo lane pressure from NRG trying to shut down Variety and get Dimi ahead, making those rotations. Once his aura comes online, his mobility will increase, and then he'll make a bigger impact in these teamfights.
Well, it looks like Obey Alliance are going to be going up against NRG Esports. You see the lineups here. The God's taken off the table as well. And it's going to be time to get into game now. NRG first seed trying to make it into the first seed of Worlds, and Obey trying to extend this set by 1 more game. Casters, take it away.
You know, when it comes down to it, Kevin, because everybody is already qualified for Worlds, I think sometimes that this match kind of gets left in the dust, but this is to crown the victor of Europe. I mean, this is a big deal.
Also, it's going to be a very similar Worlds format, to last year, where that first seed bypasses the group stage. Now, there is always that debate in esports where sometimes it's better to be warmed up rather than avoid the placement stages, but you do put yourself in that spot where you could potentially lose to the other team, that wild card that's going to be in your early game group, and then have to go face the first seed right after that. And so it still is very important, I think, that to have that first seed to just give yourself that comfortability.
Well, last year we saw NRG in the number 2 seed spot. You guys actually had number 1. Is there such a thing as the first seed curse that we hear all the time?
I mean, we were first seed coming into this line as Europe,
That's
and we
true.
lost. We lost.
That's true.
Man, I guess it really is real.
Well, the first seed curse went away because NRG, right? DreamHack and then Epsilon Invitational, they were still the first seed, still dominated, but I think they threw. I think that's what it was. I think they knew the first seed curse was going to be a thing, Funball, so they just made sure that they were second.
I mean, they're just an oddball team, so they don't have the curse.
I can see emilitoo throw to be number 2 to make sure he doesn't get a superstition on him.
He's like, don't give that bad mojo to me, please. Not that bad mojo. I'm excited though. This game, Variety now on Ymir. He was banned out like the last 2 games pretty heavily. First it was the focus on his Ymir, then it was the Ymir and the tier forcing him onto Soba, but now he's on the god that he has made huge impacts into games with, and he is the best Ymir in the world right now. There's no doubt in my mind.
Not only, I think I've said this a couple of times, and I'm feeling more confident. I think that Variety's Ymir might be the strongest personal pick in the SPL right now. When you're going to prioritize a weird god for somebody, I think it might just be Variety's Ymir.
Since Thorgars, we haven't seen the same thing, and to be fair, there's so many people good at Thor now that when you see adapting, when you see Homie FA and Ananser, it's like they all play it at such a high level, but it's really only Variety that can play this Ymir and make it work repeatedly.
And to such a high extent.
Yeah, and he gets the walls off in the jungle, and he just rinses and repeats. That's what he did to us as well. We got caught in the jungle, they got a pick, and then they got Fire Giant, and then they just keep on continuing getting on better things.
What was it that was like just so frustrating playing against?
The Ymir walls.
Just the walls, nothing else.
Yeah, it was just the Ymir walls, because you get caught out in the jungle, and you just can't do anything. You're just like, oh, well, denied.
And, you know, when you get hit by that level 1 wall, you know, it's like up, and then it's down.
Then it's down.
But then you sit there and it's like 3, 4, 5 points in it, and it feels like forever. You're walled off, and your teammates on the other side getting spanked, and you're like, let me do.
To be fair, 6 seconds is forever in a Smite team fight.
Yeah, especially when you're playing in Smite in a competitive game, your adrenaline's pumping, and everything feels so much slower. And I think that's what comes into key with the Ymir wall as well.
What I like here on the side of NRG, as we see Yammyn get hit a little bit by PrettyPriMe Scylla, is the fall collection of Yammyn. We're seeing a little bit of 3 gods that he's known for playing, but that he hasn't played as of late. We've seen a lot of oddball picks for Yammyn, bringing back the Hunters, etc. Now he's on the Isis along with some of the other characters.
I love Yammyn is so good just because we got to follow him in that sequence. We saw the second he got hit by the monkey bouts, look down. He had his silence channeled for if Twig had teleported to him.
And Twig actually, if you heard the sound, he actually TP'd to the monkey. I think he wanted to TP onto Yammyn, but he didn't get it off.
Yammyn going to toss out the spirit ball, then get out of there.
Look at all the poke Yammyn's taken. I mean, he's super low health right now. He should be fine because Raffer's around, but a good job by Obey on putting pressure on that Isis. I mean, when you have Isis Thor, it's always been known as just the high pressure composition. I think a lot of gods have come into the meta now that can match that kind of duo, but it's still very consistent because of the long-range poke, and also both of them have long-range stuns. It's very hard to dive onto them because Thor can disrupt you with the wall. Obviously, Isis ult can come out, and the fact that PrettyPriMe on the Scylla is able to make Yammyn uncomfortable by constantly putting poke onto him, it makes it hard for NRG to invade like they normally do.
So here what we see out of the composition, out of NRG, is pure push in the mid and the duo lane. Neith is going to have a lot of control over this lane versus Rama, at least for the early to mid game. And this is exactly what I was going to say isn't going to happen, actually.
He had Hug, yeah. They tried to force the early Gold Fury. Raffer doesn't have Hog. He has Shell instead. They can't really fight into that. They'll get the Gold Fury for free.
Alt sent on the right-hand side as Variety's getting... Oh, the freeze!
Just stuck a little bit too long thanks to Variety and the stun, and here comes the jungler. He's going to get stuck, but adapting finally cleans it. All right, and it's going to be 1 for 1, but ladies and gentlemen, Obey Alliance are the team with the first blood. 500 bounty to them.
I think NRG just overestimated their ability to kill Ymir then, and just a fantastic job from Variety. I'm not sure how long he had that channel, but I'm assuming he had popped it early to guarantee the freeze on Dimi and keep him under tower, and just able to get that first blood. And it was also a solo first blood, which is the best thing you can ever have.
I think they expected the Thor to come earlier, to dunk down earlier. That's why Dimi went so far in, but he's just too late.
A little bit safe this time around. Very early on, we're seeing a lot of aggression, very different from what we've seen in the past. And here comes PANDALIKE walking into the enemy jungle, pressing his wrath button, walking out, and he was hidden behind the wall there, but I guarantee there was a laugh or a taunt.
I was a little bit worried at the start for him. I'm like, oh, not again, Panda, don't get picked off again. But you could see Raffer and Yammyn actually rotating to the mid. That was just, there's no wards on the right-hand side, so they didn't expect it.
I thought you were going to say you were worried because he wasn't laughing.
Oh, that, I mean, I'm a little bit worried if he's not laughing too.
Yeah, one thing I wanna point out is the Fafnir pick is PANDALIKE's most comfortable god right now, and he can make these aggressive plays because he's on that god. He can jump in, stun, ult, have that damage immunity for a few seconds, and then just jump out again, stun, damage.
It's the god that perfectly fits his playstyle. Yeah. It just, he is allowed to get himself out of position, and he just has so many options to get away.
Well, he's got a dedicated oh no button, and that's going to work out very well for him. Whenever oh no, he just hits forward, he turns into a dragon. And really, what we were talking about before, we like to sort of poke fun at the fact that he gets out of position a lot, but then we brought it back and we said, hey, this is what his team works off of. He brings himself out of position, they throw everything at him, so obviously you're going to give him the character with immunity frames so that when they throw everything at him, he's able to transform, and that's when you see the team collapse.
So this composition also very similar to game 1. where it's a lot of dive potential coming out of NRG, but I really like the Scylla pick instead of the Vulcan because of that. Scylla has a CC immune ultimate. She also gets bonus movement speed and can still use it while being dove on.
Yeah, and Obey's comp is very, very comfortable for themselves. CaptainTwig's on Humbat's, Verity's on one of his main gods. Same for PandaLike, he's one of his best gods.
It's really just Ataraxia.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, Ataraxia's god pool he's increased it onto this Rama. The whole year, I'm not entirely sure if it was in his god pool or not. But the Rama is in his god pool now, and he can play it really well. But on the flip side, Neith is one of emilitoo's most played gods in the entire season.
We haven't seen it in a while either. He hasn't really been bringing it out as of late. But, I mean, this is just NRG's favorite pick early pressure comp. This is NRG run this composition to win in the first 10 minutes.
And the taunt.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, thank you, PandaLike. I just wasn't sure if you were okay. We see you taunting the enemy, and I know you're good now. PandaLike now going to group up with his teammates in the mid. And
he wants to engage here, I think.
Yeah.
I think they're waiting for adapting the hammer.
And then you're going to wait for the ultimate out of the monkey. Over the top comes the ultimate out of the mid laner, bringing the support all the way down. iRaffer going to get jumped on here. CaptainTwig needs to finish it, but PandaLike does instead. Yammyn chasing PandaLike off of the tower. But Obey get what they came for. They pick up a kill. Nice long-range spirit ball. PandaLike down to 25. Adapting going to land right on top for the stun. There's the Zerkers, and Adapting brings one down.
And he did it perfectly too. He purified as he landed, knowing Variety is going to be looking for that stun, or PandaLike potentially had his hammer back up. I love the engage coming out from Obey though. Twig, a little bit careful there.
Oh,
he
the
burns
beads.
He wasn't even going to get hit by that either. Unfortunate for him, but I love the combination. Just PandaLike waiting over the wall. They immediately ultimate onto the Isis, force her purification. They have the Scylla ult on top of that. It just happened that PandaLike stayed a little bit too long.
Just a little bit. Overall, I like the sequence. And, you know, judging from the way that sequence is played, judging from the First Blood, and the draft here, you know, speaking around the arena and talking to some of the pro players and some of the other just fans around, the general consensus was that this was going to be a 3-1. I heard some 3-2s, I heard some 3-0s, but everybody said that this was going to be the 3-1. If that's the case, I think this might be that one game.
Yeah, they're all on their comfort gods, like I said before. One thing I do want to point out, though, is that Adapting in that previous fight where the Humbat's, you know, he beads for no reason, pretty much. Adapting, when he used his hammer, he baited Twig to jump over, thinking that he was going to go for the double tap, and then Yammyn came back with the Isis Spirit Ball, trying to, you know, get the beads, and he got the beads, but it didn't hit. And Adapting's playing this. I think Adapting's going to go off this game.
I mean, he's certainly playing like it, and he's on the Thor, which, you know, we talked about it. Thor is you have to play this god at an excellent level if you're going to be a top tier jungler. I feel like if this god's not going to be in your god pool, you're not really allowed in the SPL backroom, right?
Everyone has it in their god pool. QVL Fred and Mr. Adapting, obviously, and Adapting's only played. I think he's played Thor all 3 games as well, so he's not really showing anything.
I mean, they're just kind of letting him have the global rotations, and I mean, he's just been so effective with it as well.
Well, that's what I was pointing out earlier, but I'll finish that if NRG start to go for it, but nice little wall coming out of Variety. That's what I pointed out before, was that NRG are playing the most bland compositions that we've seen all season, really. They're just very blah meta, right? Nothing spicy, nothing energy about them, and that's by design.
I think it's because they play so well when they play the standard meta. I also think they're keeping certain strats for the worlds.
There's no way we've delved into their strat.
Yeah,
zero.
Yeah, definitely not. I think we may have like no, I actually don't know. I think maybe the Isis is something that's from their strat book.
Listen, we get it. You scrim them. You can't tell everyone what their strats are. It's fine, fun ball, but we accept it. They have a lot deeper strategy than they've been showing. PandaLike jumps forward. He's gonna have to ult here. He finally does get it all, but the Isis ult is waiting.
Either way, he jumps out, waiting for the jungler to land on top. There it is, and he gets the kill onto 1. Still gonna find it. The same Berserker's Barrage claims 2, and that's a double kill for the jungler. Ataraxia bites back by taking out Yammyn, but either way, you said it. Adapting was going to go off. He finds and isolates 2.
Oh, finds another one.
Third kill?
That's going to be 3. The taunt's coming out.
Yep.
He's feeling it. And Adapting again. I mean, we mentioned it. Scylla a lot better. Adapting, I think, will be fine here.
He's gonna
Ultra
get
for
walled.
Variety. Actually, he might not. He needs the 2, but the stun, it's going to make it nearly impossible for Variety to catch up without that blink. What a weird series. I was waiting for that to happen, but again, Adapting has a much harder time locking down the Scylla as compared to the Vulcan, but he's still doing it. I mean, he jumps down, gets the kill onto PANDALIKE, who had, got bursted in the fight early, and then the I'm a Monster doesn't even connect onto him by the time Prime falls.
And so we were just before sort of singing the praises of that strategy, but I don't think that there is a perfect strategy. And once people start to catch on, that's when things start to go south. And right there, that was the PANDALIKE jumping into everybody, taking all their damage, transforming, and then running back to the team, except he wasn't allowed to run back to the team.
Well, he's by himself again. This time no ult. Good hammer, but he's going to get stunned.
One.
Comboed. Wrath in the wall actually could save him, but he's still in an uncomfortable spot.
He gets frozen, that's the big part of it. But Adapting, like you said, he wants it. He's gonna ult up and he's gonna land safely, because as soon as
Panda
like
was
that play.
baiting that.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. He hits the B button and stares at the sky, just in case Thor actually lands down.
But the issue is that all of Obey had to rotate over there to save PANDALIKE because he was out of position again, and it's just a free tier 1 in mid, and Panda still doesn't even get to steal the buff away.
Just gonna stay there. Not gonna really have any impact there. So energy right here.
He does not have a Wrath for this.
Ooh, that is a big point. Energy on the other side. They don't have the Wrath either. Let's listen to Obey. They take the Gold Fury. Will they take the fight?
I'm gonna hold them,
Nice, get up. Good job, boys.
They're gonna go for left.
They're still looking, careful. Help out.
They might go for left tower.
He's walled up.
I don't do anything. 2 seconds to scale, guys. Go Neith, bro.
Dash go, Nate!
Nice go.
Nice.
Dimmy's left.
I'm jumping
careful.
out.
We're all out.
Okay.
Thor chased me out. I'm backing it. Nice.
That was Dimi. Oh, gap shield, I don't know. That was good, boys. We're ahead. Hey, we won an early game, boys. Hey!
Alright. We did though.
We are ahead in goal. It's just experience. Experience is kind of a problem. Only Yammyn's like really far behind.
Is anything down? Like actives and shit? That we know.
I'm not sure. Neith didn't beat, so her beats are currently down, but I don't know when they went down.
Can we should fight right now. Probably, yeah.
Okay. Dude, Larry doesn't have team.
Hey, we won early game, boys. And I mean, you were mentioning that too, Kieran. Just Obey really struggle when they're behind, and this looks like the best chance they've had, not only for the comfort picks, but because finally they're not just on their back foot in the early game.
Yeah, and one thing you notice when you're as an ADC, when you listen to the comms, if the ADC's ahead and he's feeling confident, he's the one talking. I do the same thing. I'm always talking if I'm ahead or if I'm feeling really confident. And you heard Nate there, Ataraxia. He was just constantly speaking. PrettyPriMe was asking if any actives were up and down, and you heard them talk about the gold difference and the XP difference as well.
Yeah, that's really the one. The experience is what's going to really separate, especially a squad like this, when you're leaning on a character like Variety's Ymir, who Guardians will deal better with the experience in the actual gold game. So as we approach the mid game here, 13, almost 14 on the clock. The kills 5 to 6, very close, and like we said with the lead, 2,000 gold for Obey, very close. They made it out of the mid game. Hooray! Where do you look to next if you're piloting Obey?
Honestly, just kind of stalemate and don't allow NRG to close this gap, or if they do manage to close the gap, just don't put yourself in position to where you're going to be 6k behind. The later this game goes, the better Obey's composition gets and the worst NRG's gets. They don't really have a lot of late game damage. It's going to be Adapting and Yammyn mostly. I mean, Neith doesn't match up to Rama when it comes to basic attacks. They have good synergy when it comes to control, and so NRG basically have to play fights absolutely perfectly.
CaptainTwig trying to gank, but he's going to get answered to by Dimi's ultimate. And there's Adapting landing on down. Variety in a little bit of trouble. The beautiful wall stopping Variety. He has to go all the way around. He's going to get hit by Neith as well. The turnaround freeze just in time. Isis ultimate, not enough. Variety plays the angles fantastically.
It was just kind of a difference in communication there, because after they went very aggressive onto Dimi, CaptainTwig held his ult. He didn't burn it at the start. I think he was a little bit worried that they didn't have the burst potential before the CC chain would end for him, because he probably would have got his ult off. But Variety pushes forward, still looking for the kill as CaptainTwig was backing up. I mean, they had to burn Hunbat's ult to get him out there, so not the best option.
Yeah, it could have gone worse. It could have gone worse. I think both sides are kind of just saying, okay, we could have done that one cleaner, but at least it's not the end of the world.
I think it was just Variety and CaptainTwig being on different pages. I mean, that's all. That's all those situations come down to.
Twig actually, he was pretty smart with holding that ultimate though. Even though they didn't kill Dimi, he either could have ulted Dimi, but iRaffer was in the jungle, and they have a ward there as well.
That was a cute little play from Dimi. I always like mentioning the small things. The wind-up for your Ymir freeze is longer than the wind-up for the Amaterasu dash. So every time Dimi sees Variety sort of wind that up, he can silence it no problem.
Yeah.
A lot of these team fights for Obey is going to be centered around CaptainTwig's ult because we're seeing iRaffer just sit in the back line waiting for Variety to freeze. We are likely going to have to see a Fear No Evil onto the Geb specifically just to deal with that.
Well, there's iRaffer coming in, going to stun out 3. The follow-up coming out from NRG a little bit lackadaisical. Not going to be there right away, but there's the ultimate out of Dimi, trying to find the stun onto Variety. Not going to find the follow-up. There's adapting, going to come from the sky, a little bit too far. PrettyPriMe starts it, gets the kill onto Yammyn. No ISIS this time. There's I'm a Monster, bringing Dimi down low, and CaptainTwig finishes him off. The rest of NRG Esports falling back. The crush deals the damage, and Obey, they are healthy, and they're pushing.
Yeah, and PrettyPriMe, he waited with his second ult. He waited for the right perfect time for the CC onto Dimi, and Dimi died for it. And they get mid tower for free.
It was just
as well.
perfectly played, and also PANDALIKE intercepted emilitoo's ultimate, which was aimed for Variety. He would have been a lot closer to that tower edge, and because he intercepted that, Variety was able to space himself a little bit more away. Adapting had to dive deeper into the team fight to try and pick him up, and so the rest of his team was just collapsed on by Obey. Then again, just grouping S4 and PrettyPriMe, he got the first kill, held the reset perfectly.
Gold Fury 10%, Obey Alliance taken away. No problem, despite the fact that emilitoo is lurking. Adapting able to take down PANDALIKE, who stayed a little bit too long, and now they're going to try and punish. Variety's in kill range, and it makes the dodge so that Adapting lands on someone else. And one more time, CaptainTwig just makes it.
Adapting, again, greedy plays. Is very similar to the end of game 1. Right there, all he saw was red in his eyes, Variety super low. He had wasted his actives in the mid-fight. And against just how much control was there, I'm really surprised he went for that.
Sneaky fire.
Oh, wow, NRG really going for it.
Prime knows, though. Is his ult online? No, just short.
Yeah, so NRG can just do
they have
this.
ISIS ult. They can do this. They can do this.
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. ISIS ult comes out. NRG take the fire giant. iRaffer even gets the kill out of PrettyPriMe. Don't you try that malarkey.
Knock up just off the mark. Oh, and Variety misses a rare wall. Great cancel of the rollout there. He was CC immune anyway, but just getting the blink from iRaffer and just snuck under their noses, honestly.
Yeah, when I call those type of fire giants as well, it's usually when they do Gold Fury and then they're all they're at base.
You know where they are.
Yeah, and Twig used his ultimate in the left lane as well, killing the Thor, and then they just got it with the ISIS ult. PrettyPriMe, the problem is as well, the PrettyPriMe stood inside the lava pool while ulting, looking for that kill, looking for the secure.
Took too much damage.
I don't think PrettyPriMe cared about dying there. I think it was solely intended on. Yeah. He just wanted the, and it was close, to be fair. I mean, that ultimate, even though he's only level 16, it's still doing a fair amount. Not as much as the ISIS ultimate, but there is a small window.
Variety is going to be standing here on the right side. Well, NRG kind of barrel down this lane. We've got the Fire Giant off of a good call, and the 5 of them are here on the right side of the map, looking to take down this tier 2.
Obey can defend this. I mean, Yammyn's so far behind. He finished Boots. He just finished Warlock Sash, but it's only 12 stacks. Yammyn's not going to be super effective in these fights outside of his ultimate and stuns.
It's all really going to depend on the positioning here. Obey, they really have to stand behind Variety and let him control whatever NRG throws at them.
I don't think NRG can siege this. I think there's way too much disruption from Obey, and if they try and force this, it's not going to go well if Variety can jump on Yammyn or Adapting in the back line, or emilitoo in the back line.
I think it depends on Ymir's blinker. If he gets a really nice blink, like a 3-man blink stun. Oh, iRaffer's getting poked out though here.
It's just going to be 1 this time around. I'm a Monster, just going to miss that. iRaffer finds the exit, but he's still very low.
He got a shell off right before the I'm a Monster hit. He still probably wouldn't have died, but it might have been an opportunity for Obey to actually chase him out if he was a little bit lower instead. NRG just have to back off. Yeah, this is the point in the game where their composition is really falling off, especially considering they're behind so far in experience. Neith is just not that effective right now. You could see going for the power penetration build, so he's going to be relying mostly on his root, and after that's down, I just don't see NRG having that follow-up damage.
Yeah, he's looking for the Ymir damage mostly. That's why he's not going crit here. Honestly, on Neith as well, you want to go for the more of ability-based damage. That's why he's got the Titan's Bane. I assume he's going to build probably a Quinn's next, a Quinn's Blade, and he's going to just look for that poke on Very.
You know, that's so interesting because that's going to be a basic attack item, not the ability build that you were talking about. Why is it? Is it just the fact that the passive is
I think it's
so
Ymir.
strong?
Yeah, the problem is when you go full ability-based on Neith, you just don't have that, you don't have the auto attack damage, and you need attack speed as well on that Neith to continuously poke the Ymir, which is what he needs to do this game.
That might work in a little bit. Right now, the kills are tied up, but the gold certainly isn't. NRG tailing by about 5,000, but the fire giant that they snuck, what would you say that's worth at this point in the game? Maybe 2,000, 3,000 gold?
Yeah, but it wasn't about getting the gold. It was more of changing the pace of the game.
Exactly, and now here comes the initiation
Rapper's
coming
gone.
out of these mid laner, but CaptainTwig kills him before PrettyPriMe can get it with the ult.
I think that's fine. I think you have to do that regardless.
Yeah, I mean,
just
you can't
fully commit, but it's unfortunate. PrettyPriMe doesn't have the ult. But Obey, again, NRG just can't siege their composition. I know it's weird to say because the game's still close. I don't think NRG can win this unless Obey seriously mess up and get picked off.
I think it depends on the experience in gold. If they close that gap, I think they have a chance for this Isis and Neith to start doing damage, which is what they need to do to that front line. And Twig needs to mess up his ult so hard that that the team fight just changes completely.
Well, Gold Fury being surrounded. It's about to spawn here, and it's about close to that 5K mark for Obey. This late game Gold Fury is going to put them in a much better spot. You can see no one even close to full build at this time.
But Dimi's close to the Gold Fury itself.
I'm surprised they're resetting. Oh, Batz is on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Dimi and a Batz show up, you kind of have to, what are you going to do after you get multiple players stunned and then controlled by the Fear No Evil? So, yeah, I'm going to eject.
I think NRG here, they need to fight in the lanes, because if they get picked in the jungle, they have a Scylla ult, they have Rama snipes, they have Verity walls. You just can't play in the jungle against that comp.
Well, Obey's going to go for the Gold Fury. NRG sort of lurking in the background. Half HP on the objective. NRG zoning in. Certainly not willing to let this one go without a fight. The ultimate not dropped just yet, but the Spirit Ball ultimately will find a home. There's the ultimate out of Dimi. Canceled right away.
I think Obey are baiting a fight, and they're not trying to bait them in and then looking to engage. They're actually baiting them in so they can disengage into these smaller corridors where Ymir could be successful and just keep NRG's composition separated with a Great Wall.
Yeah, you see that all the time. As soon as players pass this sort of speed buff of doom on the map, they very quickly sort of get focused down, and that will be the case for...
Obey are trying to force iRaffer and Isis ult early. Because NRG's all their ultimates are very good at diving, most notably the Thor, the Neith as well, which is looking for those, okay, we're going to pick you off and then dive on top of you after the stun. They don't want to take a full fight. They just want to bait them in and just kind of keep themselves alive and then counter-initiate.
Yeah, it's about fitting out the competition. Right now, PANDALIKE going to get jumped on. He's going to transform, but Yammyn just doesn't let him out of the circle.
Again, though, there's so much control on NRG's composition, and you just can't walk in by yourself like PANDALIKE is. I mean, that's also on Obey for not just following up. I mean, once PANDALIKE's in that spot, I think you have to take that fight.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out there is Adaptim was in the air and he dunked straight down. So I think his Thor ultimate just clipped a wall. Yeah, it clipped a wall. Otherwise, CaptainTwig should have died there. The Scylla ult was already used.
Well, you know what I say at this point? Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I was about to say it too. I was so close to be like, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I thought you were going to say stuff after the stuff.
Oh, man.
I mean, you got to have reason to drop it. Come on now.
So, interesting enough, NRG give up Gold Fury completely, and they're just going straight for this Fire Giant, but PandaLike has already respawned because he's only level 15, so this is going to be contested, and he does have Wrath.
Yeah, they're just looking for any fight that'll come their way at this point. NRG by starting a fire giant, by coming around all the way into the enemy's back harpies. NRG's just like, please fight me. I want experience.
Yeah, they need the XP and the gold to just get back to equal in this game. One thing also is Raf. I don't feel like Raf is fully confident on this Geb. I've not really seen it too much from him.
I agree. When I think Raffer, I'm thinking more of the aggressive supports, the Ares, you know, all the other nonsense that comes out alongside those. So, yeah, it's a little bit interesting.
Oh, that is trouble for Raffer. He's in a bad spot. He does get his ult off, and he's going to heal up from the ice assault, but PrettyPriMe finishes him.
He just could not even make it to the sky that time around. PrettyPriMe, however, tosses one over the wall, much to no avail.
And a two-man's done, and this wall is actually not good for Obey because it's keeping their team trapped onto NRG. PrettyPriMe, though, again, fighting in those small corridors, just lines up with the crush, finds a kill. Now Variety very low in the Fire Giant pit. Great blink. Dimi waiting for him, but he misses the shield.
Can't get the last hit. PrettyPriMe gonna miss as well. Nikki gets out.
Oh, the laziest back Variety.
Oh, my.
Oh. They even forced Dimi out. All he had to do was go to his team's own jungle.
I literally put my head in my hands. That's just, you know what the word for that is? Disheartening. It's just it's
like, oh no, you got out. You lived for so long on Ymir.
And then you just ruin it by lazy backing.
I mean, I think he still thought Dimi was going to hang around there, so he just channeled his back, and then by the time they forced Dimi out, he's like, oh, I'm close to backing, and then adapting just happened to loop around the corner and catch him. I think that's all it came down to.
Just gone. Yeah, very quick like that. Well, it's a dozen across the board so far, but Obey Alliance are the ones that are commanding this lead, about 5,000 gold worth of it. And really now is crunch time for a team like Obey Alliance. They're not considered the best. They're not expected to win. Every single win they come is just another superlative that they're going to put next to their name. And then, like we said, I mean, this is a set point for NRG. But if we see a win here, that brings us inevitably to a game number 5, which will crown the victor.
For me, NRG has done a great job of stalemating the game in the last, 7-odd minutes. The Obey's lead hasn't expanded. The last time we saw Fire Giant go to NRG, Yammyn was on just getting the Warlock Sash and had 12 stacks. Now he's got an Obsidian Shard, about 63 stacks on that Warlock Sash, so he's going to be a lot more effective in these fights.
Yeah. NRG, you see them, they're split pushing. They don't really care about the Fire Giant, and this is what they always do when they're behind. They look for other objectives, then they just leave the ones they can't contest.
And Dimi's still here to annoy them. CaptainTwig getting knocked up. PandaLike has the Wrath. No, it's on cooldown. This could go either way right now. Obey do secure the Fire Giant, but Yammyn's taking out Twig.
And there's Adapting just landing directly on top of the mid laner and able to take him out.
And emilitoo, he's going to get a feed. This is disastrous. Obey, we're so far ahead, and it's all collapsed. Variety surrounded by 3. He's going to get chased down, walled off as well. Raffer on the wrong side of that. Variety trying to juke out the Spirit Ball, completely whiffs on the freeze, and this is just a matter of time.
Oh, Variety. It's a comeback, Carl. Just falling down.
What? Obey didn't have the Wrath, so they had to invest Scylla ult to secure it instead of getting it on a fight.
But he also with the Scylla ult, he also killed Dimi as well.
So you win some, you lose some. A little bit of the aggression coming out from the Neith is going to be met.
Is this game?
This honestly could be.
God. 9 seconds on CaptainTwig, 14 on Prime. Ataraxia 16.
No, they can't.
So this is, they at least got the Phoenixes, but the game has completely switched.
Look at the goal difference and the XP. It's in NRG's favor now. emilitoo, it was a 2v5, and then Yammyn comes from behind. He gets the stun, he gets the kill. A Thor ult dunks down, gets Prime. They lost Fire, who cares? They got Phoenix. They got 2 Phoenixes actually after that.
Yeah.
They were fine with losing Fire to begin with, because they took, I think, a tier 1 and 2 tier 2s, and they were guaranteed that Phoenix on the left-hand side. So even if Obey doesn't die at the Fire Giant, that's still a win for NRG overall.
Just outlandish.
Man.
Just outlandish. Obey Alliance.
That's so brutal. They were doing so well, too. I mean, they were winning early game. They're all on their comfort picks. They're playing fights, really well. They just couldn't break through NRG's defense.
Was there a specific moment here that Obey just kind of dropped it for you?
They hesitated. On the right side, tower, they hesitated.
Well, right here, no hesitation out of NRG. It's going to force the shell out of Obey. Let's listen to NRG as they take out Obey in the mid lane.
Okay. There's no no. I'm Fafnir, guys. I'm Fafnir. Rama super now.
I'm dead.
Pro left blink.
Yeah, big
Yeah, he tried to blink.
Back out.
Flip on it too. We can hold this, dude. We can hold this. I think if you're back now. Yeah, team limit.
Fine,
They can't
they can't push. It's fine, that's...
Rama B, it's Rama ult.
Yeah, I got my initiation walled off, so... Fine. I had like a 5 then, so...
We can push
I
left.
just got hit by the Scylla damage. I thought we would kill the Scylla before
Did you use
she
active, Yammyn?
hit all.
No, I didn't use anything. I didn't use anything either. I should stop ulting iRaffer.
I only use stages.
Yeah,
I
I
know
know,
it's on
right.
iRaffer, it's not worth it. Like,
Yeah,
it's gonna die
I know.
and you're not gonna get any damage in.
I could have ulted a Scylla.
Yeah, that would have been...
They still would have
it's
killed you, I
fine.
think, but it would.
No, but we would have been a trade, like...
Yeah.
Because I got a 3-man dunk in the back.
I agree.
Scylla's
right.
They're pushing right. Where do we want to go? Left?
Wanna go left?
Yeah, go left. I'm gonna... What? You have better push,
Right towards the end there, a little bit of confusion as to what call was actually going to be the case. But in any event, you can see a little bit more confident.
It was a base race, but emilitoo, I think, showed himself on the map, and so Obey are going to back and try and defend this. Again, though, PrettyPriMe, the deciding factor in that fight, he gets the ult onto iRaffer, resets, and you heard Adapting saying he got hit as well.
Nice little blink forward from the Ymir, but it's answered immediately with a nice little on her knockback. So no big deal right there. In fact, we'll see the gentleman. We'll see him ult successfully in the Me Store.
In the communications, in the listening, you heard NRG that they were not disheartened from losing that fight
At all.
At all. Yeah, they were like, okay, this happened. Did you use beads? Did you use Aegis? Did you use actives? Yammyn was like, I could have ulted there, and he could have killed Prime.
Well, it's just a checklist for them, right? Sometimes things go their way, other times not so much. It's all just business, and I think that's why they're able to stay so stoic in these moments.
They're still pushing, though. I mean, no Fire Giant, and gold is relatively even. I mean, 32 minutes, 3K, that's nothing. Twig into the back line, though, and focus on iRaffer again.
And there's the ultimate out of the Jungle Monkey, but not going to be able to provide too much aggressive control.
Oh, Panda's going in on this one. He's
Nice
got everyone
stun.
lined up.
That's a wonderful stun, but there's a better one. It's going to grab 2. Yammyn with the long-range Spirit Ball. Unfortunately, no real big commit.
I'm surprised that Obey didn't commit to that. I mean, the only ultimate still available is Adapting, and now it's NRG pushing forward. They've taken out Variety, and it's Adapting to this guy. He's got 2 members lined up right now, and he comes down all on the back. Twig trying to get away. The hammer is actually going to be used defensively, and Panda does manage to return a kill on Adapting.
This is a fantastic defensive set coming out from Obey.
What?
And Tail Yammyn just gets one. That's gonna be 2 players
Good
down.
stun. Ataraxia needs the shot. Quick Sanctuary. Now he's got to back up. Dimi looking for the stun. He can't find it. Now getting shredded. Overhand smash, and Dimi left by himself. Everyone else was out.
NRG got a little bit excited there.
But they also got mid Phoenix from that.
And the
From
left
that
Phoenix is
entire
going to go down
engagement.
too. Ataraxia can't get there in time. That's going to be Fire Minions taking it away, I think.
Ataraxia
Maybe.
here.
It's very close. Focusing on the archers. Is it going to hold it?
No. Now that, I used the word disheartening before.
Disheartening is the whole of Obey right now.
Oh.
All of Obey is it's just disheartening seeing all these things, you know, people barely getting away from them. Just like Prime dashes aggressively, trying to make a big play, but emilitoo quickly turns, finds a couple shots, the stun from Yammyn as well. He can't even get his crush damage off. And then in all that, they finally do push energy off their Phoenix, but they lose their mid and they lose their left again, so the Titan's not going to be able to heal up.
A full 180 reversal from what we were looking at before. Let's take a look at the graphs real quick to illustrate this lead change. There was a 4,000 gold lead on the side of Obey,
or 9,000 gold swing. That's huge.
Yeah, just in a matter of about 7 minutes, we saw a 9,000 gold swing.
Yeah, and that was the Phoenix, and that was the Fire Giant fight where Obey hesitated, and they lost 2 Phoenixes, and yeah.
And then Obey was even actually able to win the fight in mid. They killed iRaffer, they picked up Adapting as well. Then they go into a base race scenario, but by the time they back, they can't defend their tier 2 on right. Variety gets poked out, and so I was actually really surprised that NRG sieged that Phoenix, but they knew because they had fire waves in the mid and the left-hand side, it would be harder for Obey to pay attention to both.
Yeah, I mean, we usually see, we almost always see the safer play coming out from these guys' energy, but right here they go a little bit dirty, they go a little bit risky, and they make it pay off. To the sky goes the jungler. He's gonna find somebody, but not get the stun. Nice purification out of the hunter. And Adapting's gonna fall thanks to CaptainTwig.
Oh, Twig stunned out Yammyn again. Big plays from him, and he's gonna find the kill. PrettyPrime's ultimate off the mark. PANDALIKE's gotta run away. emilitoo, though, absolutely annihilated from that crush. PrettyPrime doing so much work. Him and Ataraxia and Twig. I mean, look at their damage numbers. All about the same. All three separated by 400.
And of course, the ability just to find those shots. Certainly a big part of what's making the defense work so well for Obey. But is that just it? Is it just the fact that the players are playing well? Why is Obey able to defend their Titan and their Phoenix so well right now?
Well, do you remember the Titan defend, the Seed Cloud9?
Yep.
I think it's just because they have so much, you know, they've been in this situation before, and they know how to play against it, but I think
they want to go.
Yeah.
NRG wants first seed.
Yeah,
they're diving straight in.
There's a full commit coming out from NRG, and it's 20-20 as far as the kills are concerned, because NRG, they've got 20/20 vision, and all they see is the first seed for Worlds. Ladies and gentlemen, NRG are your European champions.
3-0 over Obey. Obey definitely had some shining spots, though. This is a team that I think will be better for Worlds, but you know, they just ended up beating you guys. Obviously, unfortunate for you, but they are taking, I think, things step by step. And to match up against the best team in the world, it's always hard. It's always difficult.
I mean, NRG, they've won all the lands in this year. They won World Championships. Congrats, guys. Hello, Emil. I saw that.
When it comes down to it, NRG, you know, what's so impressive for me, honestly, is that as we look at some of the other teams, some of the older teams, attitudes tend to shift. And I think this is something that you guys also nail really well, is that Smite is just, it's the center for you guys, and I think it's the center for NRG right here. Like you said, they've won every event you can sort of think of in recent memory, and yet this win still matters to them. They're already qualified for Worlds, but they want to make sure that they get in #1. You can see the looks on the guys' faces, so I always get happy to see that sort of passion. Either way, that was set #1. We crown our European champions, and it came down to just 3 games. Thanks a lot, Kieran, for joining us here on the desk. We'll actually go to the desk, and we'll talk to Evan and the guys about the set.
Thanks, Tom. It is the set complete, and it goes the way of NRG, pretty dominating performance, and, well, their first seed at Worlds.
They went undefeated during the Super Regionals. They only lost 1 game during the group play against Cringe Crew the first day, and then they tweeted about, like, man, we shouldn't have lost that 1 game. They are looking so unstoppable.
Yeah, NRG are definitely, all of those guys hold themselves to very high standards, and they hold themselves in very high regards, and so I don't think that they were anticipating or looking to drop any games despite, you know, being qualified already for Worlds. They still just came out swinging.
What does this do in terms of, I think, the mentality of Obey going into Worlds? Are they kind of disgruntled about this? Is this surprising to them? I feel like they'll kind of keep their stride expecting this result.
I think they're very happy right now in their position. They made it to Worlds. They're in the next spot. They need to start making the preparations necessary for a lot of the international teams. So they're relying very heavily on Hazer to be able to kind of study those teams, make sure that they're not going to be surprised heading into Worlds.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, the fact that they are already qualified for Worlds, I really don't think that Obey, if anything, was looking to try and reveal any kind of strat or anything like that. They kind of just stuck to playing what they've been playing and went for comfort picks. And I think that a team as smart as Obey would have probably worked on a different draft if there was a little bit more to risk. But for the most part, I think that they're pretty satisfied with what they've accomplished as Super Regionals.
Yeah, NRG, the Lanimals. I wonder if this will continue. One can only assume going into World. It's been a pretty dominating performance, as Tolly has kind of mentioned, for all of us here watching these. You know, this team that was Epsilon earlier on in the year get picked up by NRG. You know, the organization, Shaq's behind. It's very exciting stuff. They've really lived up to the name. I think a lot of people have, the standard, a lot of people have held them to.
And now, with this win heading into first seed into Worlds, this is the 5th LAN that NRG won in a row.
Wow.
This is a huge milestone for any team to accomplish, and now heading at Worlds, if they win again, not only will they be the second time World Championship in a row, which has never been done, but they just keep extending that milestone.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting as well to see how they fare against so many NA teams that are going to be off the Worlds as well. So I think that it's pretty exciting, honestly. Like I think a lot of teams are viewing Obey and NRG as like last hope for EU Worlds, so never really know what's going to happen there.
It's going to be really exciting to see just the different clashes of style between the regions, especially the little bit of an interesting flash of greatness coming out of the international teams.
That's right. And Soar and, of course, Eager, they're going to be up next. Two fantastic teams. We'll get to that match in a sec, though. Kevin is standing by with an interview from one of the winners.
I'm standing by with the reigning world champions, iRaffer adapting. Congratulations once again. Here's your trophy for the European Regional Championships. It's actually pretty heavy, so be careful. Don't drop it. You'll actually break someone's head. You can't put any liquor in there, though. We made sure this time.
Oh, we'll take it back then. We don't want that.
Well, you didn't seem to let me have it. Anyways, congratulations. How are you guys feeling after winning?
We feel good, but that game 3 was way too sloppy from us. But we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. All right.
Yeah.
Adapting. How you feeling?
I'm so happy actually. Like, I don't know. We won every LAN this year. We went undefeated. Like, that's such a like. I don't even know. Like, I'm just so happy.
I mean, we were actually talking about it. You know, me, Tom, and Fumble behind the scenes. You guys are the only ones who actually don't seem to be affected by the first seed curse. Historically, teams that come into Smite lands at first seed, they're not able to win it. You guys have kind of broken that trend this season. What has allowed you guys to be so dominant throughout Season 3?
I just think it's the consistency from every single player. You know, everyone's came into every SPL game and put the heart into it, and obviously LAN too, because they're the most important games.
How about this LAN? How prepared did you guys come to face up against the likes of Orbit and Obey?
I feel like I would say we were like mostly prepared for this LAN than the other LANs.
This was the LAN we prepared for the most in comparison to the other LANs. I'd say we still prepared like a bit more last Super Regionals and before Worlds. But this is definitely like the most preparation we've done for any LAN this year. I
mean, at the beginning of the season, obviously you guys finished last year 27-1 and then ended up winning the World Championships. Did you guys expect to be this good, to be this dominant?
Yeah, you know, we expect to be the best. That's what we come to do, you know. We train every day, we scrim every day. We drink every day.
You scrim every day. That's what I heard. Obviously, you pulled out a Geb here in this last game. Let's talk about this one a little bit, because first 2 games looking great for you guys. This game, though, you got a little bit behind. What was going wrong, at least in the early game?
I'm not too sure. I would honestly have to look back on the game, but I was getting bursted way too fast. And perhaps I did something wrong in my build or my positioning. I'm not too sure. And
how did you guys actually end up coming back to it? I mean, it really came down to that Fire Giant fight adapting.
Yeah. So we just did, I don't know, basically just wanted to chill for a bit and see, like, wait for an opening, try to, like, get them to maybe engage on us, and we get, like, a good CC on so they can't really follow up with the engagement, and then just wait to, like, get a beat force or a pick, you know, anything. Just kind of wait for an opportunity.
Because it all started off when I think I was on top of the Fire Giant, and I was saying I'll delay them as long as I can, and Emil was going, oh, I can PvE, guys, it's all I can do in Smite, so...
It really is. I think he has the highest tower damage. Most towers. He's actually insane when it comes to fighting off against towers. Adapting, talk to me a little about your performance this LAN. I know coming into the group stages, you were not really happy with a lot of people starting to think that Cubo Fred was the best jungler. I saw you when your replays were on screen, just staring at them. Are you proud of how you played at Super Regionals?
I don't think I played bad, but like I think I can still play better than this.
Okay. I mean, I was praising you. I think we saw you play phenomenally, especially in this last set. Obviously, your Thor play really dominant. Somehow they let you have it all 3 games, but I mean, you're going to take that anyway. Thank you guys for joining us, and congratulations, boys. We're going to see you first seed at Worlds. You get to skip the placement stages, so you get to go out and celebrate tonight. Although you've been celebrating, I think, every night while here. Guys, don't go away though. We do have a Smite Tactics show match. The first time we're going to be broadcasting it on hi-rez TV up next.